I'd like to welcome to the Metal Shop 101 a lady that needs no introduction, Karina Sher. How you doing, Karina?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Well, you got a lot to talk about. You are very, very busy. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
I know.
You are the owner of Ragebreed. Can you
hmm
tell us how you got that started?
Oh, yeah. So it started actually in '96, believe it or not. It started very early because I was a teen back then. I got signed very young. And there was a, it started off, my first experience with promotions was a venue called the Charlotte in Leicester. And they had a lot of big bands that used to have that as a tour circuit. So the owner of the Charlotte, Andy, at the time, said, can you help promote our shows? And we'll put Mindlapse on some of the shows. If you can give out flyers and posters and things like that. So it started off like sort of like co-promoting with venues.
Right.
And then we went into our own nights. So we did our own promotions. We did something called Aggression Download. We also did a tour with Cancer, Insomnium, and Napalm Death. So we started to put on tours for Candlelight Records bands at the time. So we did that in 2005 and in 2006. So 2006 was Omnium Gathering, 2005 was Cancer and Insomnium with Mind Map supporting, and we also had Gutworm and Cruel Humanity on the tour. And the last thing was in Napalm Death. So we started off doing, I guess, events and bookings and things like that, tours. And
Right.
then it later went into club nights. But then obviously COVID happened. Um, so then what happened, obviously we couldn't put any nights on anymore. Our club night, we had to stop. The venues closed over COVID times. So I was thinking, what can I do, so then we had this thought that maybe we should help bands sell merch. So we started to do the modelling, Ragebreed Girls, Ragebreed Warriors, Ragebreed Rainbows, and help sell their merch. But then we also decided, shall we go into a magazine? So I'd been thinking about it for a while, and then I found a way to do it through PDF Flipbook, and so we started to do that in 2020. Um,
Okay.
so we had so we had three magazine releases, including the one recently. And then we did Ragebreed Radio, which relaunched in 2025. Um, and then obviously we had the label. So the label was because I was with Alien Night Records. I was signed to them for quite some time. But I decided I wanted to be a little bit more hands on and do it myself. So I started with just releasing my own stuff.
Right.
And then over the years, we had bands come and then decide to go somewhere else, but then came back, and so we've had kind of like a, you know, uh, we've sort of worked with different bands, but now we are concentrating on the label this year. So we're
Okay.
gonna bring in. We've got two, um, you know, uh, label managers. Well, we've got one is an intern, one we're going to be recruiting on the 1st of Feb, and so yeah, everything is I just cannot believe the growth, and it's happening very quickly as well.
Right.
Yeah, so
Now,
that's how I got started, and that's how where we are now.
now you're also a vocalist,
I am.
and
That's right.
I've got to say, from what I've heard of your songs, and
hmm
we'll get into them in a minute,
hmm
you are amazing. I
Oh,
mean,
thank you.
it's just, I was like totally blown away. Now,
Oh,
let's go with Lake of Dreams and the
okay.
song Hold Me. Now,
hmm
there is you're writing a movie script about
I
that
am.
song? How's that going?
Yes. So it's actually going to be a concept project. So it's a film that I'm currently writing through a script, and basically all the songs that you hear of Lake of Dreams are about the Druidess Kira, and she falls in love with a soldier that is meant to kill witches. So it's a bit of a dark romance because his ethics are very different from hers, and it's how he falls in love and then starts seeing things differently. But then
Right.
she also knows that if she's with him, there'll be a big battle because the king wouldn't. That's his right hand, and so she has to learn how to defend herself. So what you've got here is Lake of Dreams, which is a dark romance between the two. But then you've also got Mindlapse. So
Right.
with Mindlapse, the songs of that album will be when she goes into hell to learn how to defend herself, and every song will represent a spirit that she meets in hell. So we've got both sides. We've got the dark romance, which is all floaty, and then
Right.
we've got the terror and the brutality in hell.
But your vocals on Mindlapse.
Yeah.
Wow. Rage of Masses. I mean, it's like night and day. I mean, you go from a very,
Yeah.
very beautiful melodic voice on Lake of Dreams, Hold Me, and
Mhm.
then you go into the Mind Lapse,
Mhm.
which is pretty heavy.
Yeah. It's kind of my inspiration for that was Opeth, early Opeth. So, um, when you look at songs like, I don't know, Demon of the Fall and their old stuff, I love the guttural death vocals, but then he's got the beauty of his melodic vocals, so it has a sort of a beauty in darkness, and so when you hear Age of Masses and it's very guttural, and then top end black metal, then you go into a sort of a melodic, bit in the song as well, where it's very serene. So I love the contrast.
Right. I mean,
Mm.
how are you able to go from that beautiful melodic opera like voice to that heavy growl? I mean, it's just crazy.
I know. Even sometimes I listen to it now and I think, oh my god, is that me?
It,
Like I actually have.
when I first heard it, I'm like, there's no way that's her. And then I kept
No,
listening and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
yeah.
It's
I'd learned
amazing.
how
It's
it.
amazing that
it
you can go back and forth like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I really practiced hard when I was younger. I mean, I did all the heavy stuff and started to do it in '99, and yeah, it was just like I started off, I think, probably not as brutal and guttural, but over the years, obviously, I kind of, I mean, especially with Souls for Sinners, the EP we did, and then Haunted and the Prophecy, it was very arch enemy kind of Opeth type. So
Right.
I've been doing it for a long time. But I've also done melodic stuff as well. So it's always been kind of alongside. It's kind of like my yin and yang, if you like.
Got to release that rage breed somehow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the funny thing about it is when you've had a good scream, you feel really chilled out afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We all got to scream once in a while. So
Definitely.
now y- you heavily support against bullying too, I've noticed.
I do, yeah, yeah, we do a lot of that.
You have
Yeah.
a you want to talk about that a little bit? Is that a
Yeah, of course, yeah. So basically, I started this because I felt like there was a lot of online bullying going on, and there was a lot of people reaching out to me. Oh, it's happened to me as well, and I started to hear from a lot more people as well that the same thing was happening. Like a lot of people that had very strong presence were kind of being trolled all the time online and things like that. And certainly, that this happened to me as well with a lot of different people. So we decided, you know what, we want to do something that speaks out against it. Because for me, metal has always been rise together. It's always been pit rules. If you see someone down, help them up. So I didn't really understand where all this was coming from because for me, I kind of just go to the person if I have any issues. But I think a lot of people do it for attention as well. And
right?
I think a lot of them are very insecure. I think some of them have jealousy issues. Some of them, it's almost like you got to think about the intent of why someone does what they do. Um, and certainly for me, there was a lot of like rivalry and things like that when I found out who was doing it. So you sort of learn to sort of dissociate from people like that. For me, it was more, you know, even when you try to resolve things amicably, some people don't want to, resolve things. They enjoy the attention that they're getting from,
Right.
doing the sort of trolling and. So for me, it was a very big step to sort of think, right, what? what do I want to do? And I sort of reached out to bands, and I got a lot of band support, even the legendary Jungle Rat as well. One of my favourite death metal bands. They were, we support what you do, we support Ragebreed Against Bullying. We had a whole video of bands and brands that literally came in and sent in a video to say they were anti-bullying, and it was fantastic. We've had so much support on it.
Right.
And for me, it kind of sends a message. There's a consequence to actions. So we kind of wanted to sort of give the target a voice. Because a lot of them try to silence the target. Because they're trying to stop them doing from what they love doing. Whereas my motto is no, don't stop doing what you're doing. Keep shining. Tell us your story. I
Right.
want to know your story, because a lot of the time, is just pure sort of vitriol. It's not even, and you look at some of the bikers against bullying that help kids, that stop. There's so many people around the world that you realize are all against this kind of stuff. Um, but they don't speak out as much about it, So
Right.
that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to provide a platform for people to share their stories, to them to have a voice to stand up against bullying, and say, this is the truth of what's happened to me, and have a platform to be able to express, the things that have, happened, and the aim behind it is to instigate change, because
Right.
sometimes, I've had bullies reach out to me after they've seen what we put up or whatever, and said, I feel so bad. I just got drawn into it, and I'm not even that kind of person, but I saw other people doing it, so I started. It's kind of like just going along with the
Right.
crowd, if that makes sense. And then I got full apologies, because they realised that what they were doing was wrong. So if we can shape that somehow, for me that's a very big positive, because it's kind of people are recognising, and the more people that are supporting what we do, they're beginning to sort of change their attitudes and how they treat people online.
Right.
Um, and the fact that some of them have apologized is fabulous. That shows that what we're doing is making consistent efforts to help. But there will always be people online and in this world that may not ever change, but at least we as targets, or the people that go through real harassment and stuff, they're
Right.
able to at least express their
Right.
story. So that's for me is why we do what we do.
Right. That's very
Mm,
awesome that you guys do that. I think it's
mm,
amazing because with the world the way it is today,
mm,
people
mm.
need that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. You know.
So in 2025, you won a global recognition award.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah. That was great. That was a very proud moment. That really was.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't expect to win it. I thought, oh, okay, we had an email and they put us forward for it, and then all of a sudden I get an email saying, oh, you've won it. I was like, oh, fab, that's amazing. And they had a panel of judges that researched the brand, looked at our big cartel sites and the Ragebreed sites, and they did this beautiful write up. Um, and I was blown away. It was great, because we had won sort of Midlands awards, and we'd won UK awards as well, but I didn't expect to sort of win a global award either. So that was amazing. I was so proud of my team, and
Right.
all of you. There's so many people that make what Rage Breeder is today. Because it's not just me; it's everyone that
Right.
collectively has become part of this beautiful community, I suppose. And each person holds so much respect, in my heart, because everyone is contributing to the idea of what we want Ragebreed to be, which is ultimately a safe community for,
Right.
rockers, metalheads, alternatives, underground.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of the Rage Breed because I think you people over there are pretty awesome.
Oh,
I
that's
mean, you
great
guys
stuff.
are amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, and
You're amazing too. I mean,
I
I'm
love the UK people. I love you
mm,
guys because I
uh,
get more emails from UK bands. It's
oh,
amazing.
really?
It's
That's
amazing what comes into the
that's so
metal shop here from the UK.
mm,
The,
mm,
and I've noticed that the bands over there and the fans also,
Mhm.
you guys are diehards. I mean, you will stick with a band till the end. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I
definitely,
mean,
definitely.
I wish the music scene was like that here in the States, but
Yeah, yeah. I guess it depends on whereabouts you are as well,
right,
and I've noticed, I mean, Ragebreed itself, when we have Ragebreed Europe, we have Ragebreed Africa, Ragebreed Asia. So we have like parts all over the world, and a lot of our staff is actually from the US, believe it or not. We do have a lot of UK staff too.
right.
Um, but when I was looking at our radio stats, we've got people from all over the world like listening to what we're doing,
Oh yeah, it's
and then
it's crazy.
I know when I was looking at the countries and I was like, "There's no way, really!" Like I was so like shocked that some of these countries that I would never even thought would be
Right.
listening, and it's fab. It's great.
So let me ask you. I should have asked you this question back at the
Mm,
beginning of the interview.
mm.
Have you always been interested in singing from a young age? Because
Yeah.
your voice is so well seasoned. I mean, like I said, that Hold Me from Lake of Dreams is just
Mm.
phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean, have you been involved in singing from an early age?
I was literally from as long as I remember. I've loved to sing when I was young. When I was at school, I used to join choirs and things like that, just because I love to sing,
Right.
And and then my parents bought me my first guitar. I mean, we had a piano actually. The first instrument that I ever played on was a piano, and then I started singing with it. And my parents said, "Oh, you sound really lovely." And so I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be able to sing." I said, I wish I had another instrument." And then they bought me my first guitar as a child, and then I started to learn how to play, and I remember figuring out how to play Nothing Else Matters on guitar, and then the next thing I knew, I was learning it properly with the chord sequences. And then as I learned guitar, I started to write my own music, and that was very young. I mean, I think it must have been. I think my first song I ever wrote was about 11, if I remember right. And then I started to, really, like whatever school I went in, they always gave me solo parts. I sang in, even as I think I must have been 9 or something. I did a solo at De Montfort Hall in Leicester. So I've always sang. It's always been part of me, and I've always been an entertainer. I've always been this kind of person that loves to entertain and love to dance, love to sing. I'm just a very um, I would say I'm quite extroverted, but I'd say I've probably calmed down a little bit to what I used to be. I've probably become more ambiverted now.
Right.
But in terms of the singing aspect, I sing pretty much every day. I just enjoy it. I feel like it's just part of who I am.
Right. Well, you
Mm.
are an amazing vocalist, that's for sure.
Oh,
So,
thank you so much.
is there anything else you'd like to add in? I mean, where can people find out about Rage Breed, your links and stuff?
um, yeah, sure. So if you want to find out about uh, Ragebreed, it's www.ragebreed.biz, which is our main website. And then my band, Mindlapse, is mindlapse.net. And we've got lakeofdreamsband.com, I think it is. But yeah, you can find all our um, links. And so if you go to the pages on Facebook and things
Right.
like that, you can find links there as well.
When can we expect to see the movie Lake of Dreams?
Well, so at the moment, I am looking at recruiting for the film. So so while I'm writing the script, I've been asking people, because I went to a Viking night not long ago, and they all look so great, and I thought, yeah, I want these in my movie. So I was asking some people there, and as extras, because there's going to be obviously quite big scenes there. So I'm kind of working alongside it, a lot of the script. Once the script is written and it's finalised, then we'll start going into the funding aspect, and then from there we will be you know, recruiting and actually, I probably will be interviewing for the roles and stuff. But I've got a very set idea on what I'm looking for characters, and it's really fun to do because I've started a map as well of all the different places in there, and because Tolkien has been my inspiration for that,
Right.
and also I don't know if you remember sort of like films like Conan the Barbarian, Red Sonja, Labyrinth, Willow, Legend, all those sort of old school fantasy films. Those were like you know an inspiration to me because it was like I sort of understood the concept of fantasy and what that entails, and I've always been a really big fan of that. So when I saw the Lord of the Rings movies, I was like, oh my god, that is epic. That is so epic. I was just like, I have to do
Right.
something like this because I just really enjoy film as well. So I do Ragebreed Entertainment Hub as well, where I review films and things like that on our podcasts
Right.
and series and stuff. But I just felt the idea of the concept of what I was writing was, so cool, and I just wanted to do that. So,
Very cool. Very cool.
mm,
Now you do you do a lot of writing too, from what I understand. Like
yeah, I do.
like poetry and stuff like that.
I do. Yeah, that's very true. Mm. Well, the poetry I started very young, at 8 years old actually.
Right.
Um, my dad has always been a writer as well, and he was an actor as well as a doctor. And he did a lot of. I mean, he even does a zine as well, which is really funny. I'm so much like him. Um, but yeah, the writing started when I was very young. Um, but I started to go fully into the poetry when I saw the Paradise Lost Icon album, and I looked at the artwork and I absolutely loved it. It was very abstract. When I was reading the lyrics, I was blown away. I was like, this is absolutely like I just couldn't even explain to you like what that did to me when I read the lyrics. And Icon and all the lyrics of Nick Holmes actually inspired me to write poetry, believe
Right.
it or not. And then so then I started to write my own, and all of a sudden I sort of continued to do that, and then I had like a book ready, and over the years I kept them all, and yeah, I started to really enjoy
Right.
poetry writing and short stories, and so yeah,
and
I
then
love
you
anything.
and now you're
Yeah,
putting
anything.
it to music.
Yeah, and all the abstract art that I do, the surrealism and everything, that's also put in my last book called Nadir to Zenith. So I've got two published books. One is called The Black
Right.
Forest, and the second one is Nadir to Zenith. And that actually can be bought from ragebreed.bigcartel.com.
Wow. You are very busy, a very amazing woman. I don't know
Thank you.
how do you juggle all this?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't. I literally, it's so funny because I was thinking what I'm going to do this year is just concentrate on the script, but then I started to do the label, and then I hired loads of senior managers, but then I've got to do the training, and then I was thinking, oh, I've
Right.
actually made more work for myself, but it's okay because the team's grown, and actually I think we're doing a lot better because of that,
Right.
in the sense that we've got more people on board. The areas that I really wanted to get going with Ragebreed are now, flourishing. The training is going well, so we're just waiting now to get all the site updates done. But yeah, there is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit there and say it's
Oh
easy.
yeah. It's a lot of
It's a
work.
lot.
People don't realize what goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, they don't. They really don't. And
It's
even when I'm quiet on social media, they don't think I'm doing anything. But
no.
I'm like behind the scenes. I'm doing site updates. I'm designing the magazine. I'm doing writing, and
Right.
there's a whole lot of things that I'll be doing.
Right.
But
All right,
it's it's what
Karina,
I love.
thank you so
Hmm.
much for taking the time out and coming on the show.
Hmm.
And look forward to, Lake of Dreams. Hold
Hmm.
Me. Amazing song.
Thank you
Check
so
out
much.
Mindlapse, Rage of Masses. You will not
Mhm.
believe it's the same woman. So, Karina, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Okay.